Hey, what's going on? It's Chris Koontz here, PDGA number 77236, and I'm going to go ahead and do my portion of the Mid-Michigan In the Bag series. We're going to start out with throwing putters. For me, 100% Jawbreaker zones all day. This one's got the Flint Town Flyers 10-year stamp. For me, this one is so much more beefy than the other ones that I've thrown. In the last 8 months, I've probably gone through and cycled through 25, 30 of these zones. This one, this stock stamp, is far more understable, and it's more of a hyzer flip situation. I can flip it to flat real early, or I can throw it on an ante that will hold for quite a long time. That's my throwing putters for these. However, the R-Pro Rhino. Anyone who throws a Rhino knows beyond a shadow of a doubt how amazing this disc is. You really can't compare it to any other disc as far as throwing putters. You can absolutely manipulate it to do anything you want, and it's just an all-around great throwing putter. I definitely recommend the R-Pro Rhino. Thanks Ty Dolla for the encouragement to get a Rhino. My putting putters all day long, Wizard Special Blend 17s. The Glide, the Flight, I absolutely love these things. At one point I putted with Special Blend 19s, and then just throughout trying out and experiencing with new putters, I ended up landing into the 19s, and I absolutely love them. Got that Tony and Jewett Detroit Disco. Alright, let's get into mid-ranges. I used to carry so many more discs, but I don't. I'm too old for that. I carry basically 3 mid-ranges. I'll make a Rock 3, DX Rock 3, which, what can you say about these discs, man? I can release it on a hyzer, and it can hold a hyzer for as long as I want it to. I can throw it flat to straight. I can throw it on a hyzer flip, and it will finish to the right always. Or I can throw it on a really, really long ante, and it'll always finish the way I want it to. And then we got these. This is a new addition to my bag. Shout out to Bob Morton for this disc. It's a 30 years of rock. That stamp is super sexy. Max weight, and I have found that I can get on this with a lot of snap, and it'll hold that flat line and then hyzer finish like you would expect. And then this disc. This disc, this Justice, has gone through, from what I can see, 3 different people, and now it's on to me. And it's got that love. It's just a Justice. It goes left. Like a Justice does, it goes left. This disc is the main reason why I can throw a putter forehand, why I can flick a putter forehand, because this disc gave me the confidence in the touch to be able to transition into throwing something a little less stable, and I knew I wasn't going to dump it over immediately. So if you don't throw a Justice, I highly recommend throwing a Justice. Absolutely great disc. Fairway drivers. Again, I used to carry a ton of fairway drivers. I used to carry an exceedingly amount of discs that I didn't need anyways, because I didn't know any better. Basically, it's limited to 2 Firebirds, a T-Bird, Jennifer Allen T-Bird, and a, what is this? This is a 4-time Thunderbird. We'll start with this disc. This 4-time Thunderbird, I can manipulate this disc to do anything that I absolutely wanted to do. And in a lot of cases, I can throw this disc just as far as I can throw a distance driver, depending on the flight path that I have to take. It's super reliable, and it will always come back to me at the end. And by me, I mean back to the left finish, if you will, or a hyzer finish. This Jennifer Allen T-Bird, this one I've yet to throw. Another shout out to Bob Morton. But if it's anything like the other Jennifer Allen T-Birds that I've thrown, I'm going to be able to put it on a little bit of a hyzer, and it's going to flip to flat and just go. Maybe a little turnover at the end, and then come back. Absolutely. And then this bad boy. Oh, that's right, I got an ace with it. Hole 7 Longs, Gettysburg, up north. 2017 Nate Sexton Firebird. A little longer than most Firebirds, but at the end, once it slows down, it absolutely gives it that hyzer finish that you've come to love over Firebirds. And then I have this Bark at the Moon Champ Firebird, which is absolutely a beefcake. I mean, I could, I don't know, I could throw it that way right now and it's going to finish over here. It's just, it's 171 weight, and it's reliable, it's dependable. I know what it's going to do. And if it's a windy situation, I know that I can absolutely rip it and it's always going to come back. Let's see, what else? My drivers. These have changed over the years. I remember a year ago, I was throwing a lot of Wraiths and a lot of understable stuff because I wasn't giving disc a chance to break in. The minute that it would start going to the right on me, I just figured that it was the disc and it was time to get rid of it. Move on. And then I got this bottom stamp Boss that, as it started getting beat up, I realized that it wasn't the disc. It was just that I needed to manipulate my release. So from going like this with it when it was brand new, just to get some distance on it, I now can release it a little bit like this, and it'll pop up and ride and still give me that far finish to the right and then come back left. Absolutely great tool in my bag. It can get me out of a lot of stuff. And since it's a little more unstable, I can bust it on the forehand and it goes quite a ways. And I'm okay with that because my forehand has generally been garbage, if you will. Speaking of unstable, if you do not have a Champion Roadrunner in your bag, chances are you're not throwing super long rollers. This disc is absolutely amazing for a long roller. If you get this disc out of your hand and get it down on the ground at the right angle, she will stand up and just go straight forever. Or in some cases, for whatever reason, if you need to throw a huge Sky Annie, this is the disc. And every brand has that disc. Every manufacturer has this disc. But for an Innova disc, there's nothing better, in my opinion, than this Roadrunner. Champ Roadrunner, a little bit of smoke. I don't think, you probably can't see it. Those smoky color in there, blurple. But it's absolutely phenomenal. And then I have this disc, which goes in the bag depending on the course. It's a Paul Macbeth Destroyer, but it is more overstable than any single disc I've ever put in my hand ever. I've had some Metal Flake Maxes. I've had some of the beefiest discs known to man. And this disc has one purpose. And this, for me, is a forehand roller disc. This disc has saved my butt in a lot of situations because I can't throw it backhand. I can't throw it forehand. I can throw it on a forehand roller, and that's about it. Eventually, it will get beat in, and I'll be able to throw it like a normal Destroyer. But for the most part, it's a forehand roller disc. It's a save my ass disc, if you will. We all have that one disc. And so I have a couple more distance drivers. This Glow Destroyer is a new addition to the bag again. Thanks to Bob Morton for this. When he originally gave it to me, he said it was overstable, super beefy. And I let her go, and it was more like a flat to hyzer. It wasn't beefy as we thought. Just that's that snap and that arm speed difference. It's going to be a great disc when it gets beat in. And now I have these two Team Stamp Millenniums. This one's a Scorpius, a 1.7. And this one's a 1.4 Quasar. So the debate, the Millennium debate versus this is a Boss, this is a Destroyer. In my opinion, this flies like a new Destroyer. This Scorpius 1.7. I'm not a huge Millennium guy, so I can't give you great information. All I know is that this replaced the majority of the Destroyers in my bag, because I could turn it over and it would eventually hyzer back when I wanted to. This Quasar, to me, the more it gets beat in, the more it flies like a Boss. It's a little poppy, a little domey, and I could either throw it on a little bit of an Annie and it'll ride it out into the hyzer, or I could just mash it on a hyzer and it'll hold it. Love it for long shots. Love it for super long turnover shots if I don't have this next disc I'm going to explain. So this is my prized possession. An 08 Champ Dave Feldberg Boss. This disc is amazing. I can let it go on a hyzer and she will, depending on how much snap and how much pop I put on it, it'll absolutely hyzer the whole way. If I crank it a little bit like this, it's going to turn into a roller. And for some reason, this disc, when it hits the ground on a roller, it takes forever to stand up. And luckily, if it's out of the woods far enough, it can stand up and go for quite a long ways. But this disc was lost in a pond in Paw Paw, Michigan, at the disc golf course in Paw Paw, Michigan. And I thought for sure it was gone forever. And about 7 months later, I got a message on Facebook that someone had found it. And so it made its way back to me. Kudos to you. I know I don't remember your name, but thank you very much. And this disc, this is probably the newest disc to my bag. And it is... I just like looking at it because it's so cute. This is a Philo. And if you've never thrown a Philo, to me, this disc specifically doesn't fly like a destroyer. This, to me, flies more like a Wraith. The flight pattern is like a Wraith, but the finish is super destroyerish. Like, it'll finish hard left. But out of my hand, it sits up flat, and it has that Wraith S, that nice S curve in the Wraith. But yeah, that's my bag. A lot of them fluctuate in and out depending on the course. Like, there's a bunch of courses around here that I don't need any distance drivers. We have our dome here that we get to throw in that is pretty calm, obviously. So there's not a whole lot of distance needed. But thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the course soon. I know this season I didn't get out to play as much as I wanted to. I still made a bunch of new friends, and this winter I'm working a lot, and I'm saving and saving and saving. So I promise you, I will see you out there. Whether it's on the bottom card or whether it's on the lead card, I will see you out there. Thank you very much.